In this week's episode, Sandy and I discuss the astrological transits. First off, Sandy's conflict day, Tuesday, March 22nd, Mars square Uranus. This is hurried traffic, so be careful when you drive. Also, we are discussing a lot about what's happening with Mercury. Mercury conjunct Neptune, sextile Pluto, and ingress Aries. Also, earlier in the week, Mercury conjunct Jupiter. To hear more of this week's transits, tune into this episode of Astrological Intentions. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the birthday beauty herself, Sandy Reevy.
Good morning.
Good morning,
everyone.
It is episode 191, March 21st. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we have today, Monday, March 21st, Mercury conjunct Jupiter.
Sales and trade are up.
Sandy's conflict day, Tuesday, March 22nd, Mars square Uranus.
Hurried traffic. Be careful.
Wednesday, March 23rd, Mercury conjunct Neptune.
Being vague, huh?
Saturday, March 26th, Mercury sextile Pluto.
Agreement.
And Sunday, March 27th, Mercury ingress Aries.
In better shape.
Then in Talisman times, Sandy has two upcoming: to feel reborn and to embody personal and soul growth. Then on the horizon, we have our Spring Equinox webinar ready for download, our April astrology forecast and cheat sheet coming up, and a 7-day challenge free event. Then in our house, we are discussing Sandy's birthday, which is underway, and that also means the spring equinox too. So Sandy's going to teach us about how the world celebrates this astrological new year. So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions. And so you finally know you control where you go. Hello, birthday beauty.
It's true. Nails are done.
Ooh.
Hair is coiffed, meaning washed.
Okay. Yes. And it's 66 years. We've been celebrating every little bit of that. And since we're recording this on your birthday, still
Work
some
never
more
ends.
birthday surprises ahead. So
Ooh.
I want to go direct to all of our listeners. Thank you so much for, joining in on Sandy's birthday sale. That's been so much fun to watch these orders come through online. People expecting their new talismans.
And thank you for all the wishes, really. It's heartwarming to see all the messages coming in. Thank you so much.
Yes. And I do have a message from Katie. This was sent, I think, last week. And she says, I miss you all so much. It's been so weird not being a part of the constellation calls right now, but I hope to be there with the April 9th event. I wanted to thank you for sharing information about Ukraine on your podcast. I'm so amazed by the people of Ukraine for their courage and commitment. It is unimaginable that in this day and age that something like this is happening, but sadly, it is. I feel so stressed for these people when I first started hearing about the possible invasion, but I also felt so inspired by the courage and commitment of just regular people in Ukraine standing up and standing together to save their country at the same time. I think of people in our country fighting over wearing a mask or other small challenges. We are blessed never to have known the fear of an invasion on our land, and we should all remember that when we complain about our big problems. Mm-hmm. You also mentioned that the Russians had stopped the Ukrainian people from speaking their native language in previous wars, and that made me remember that this was one of the things that the English had done in the times of and before the Troubles around 1920. The Irish were not allowed to speak Gaelic or teach it in schools. In fact, one of my relatives was imprisoned for teaching Gaelic to children in the fields at some point. The Irish, like the Ukrainians, have brought back their language to the point that some towns only speak Gaelic now. Along with donating to charities for Ukraine, I have connected to a couple people in group meditations that have been done specifically to bring light and love and energy to Ukraine, and that has helped me feel that I am helping them all in a small way. Love, Katie. P.S. My mom just celebrated her 101st birthday on February 27th and received a commemorative silver coin and a letter from the president of Ireland. We had a lovely small celebration, and she got lots of gifts, including champagne and chocolates.
Champagne and chocolates still coming. I love it.
Yeah. And 101.
Totally hopeful. Yes, that's beautiful. Yeah, thanks, Katie. It is a sad time for the world to know that total disagreements come to these actions.
Right, and inhumane treatments.
It's
right.
What happened to the voice?
And this also just made me think of, we were watching the astrology documentary
again,
Changing of the Gods again, and they said that in an Indian tribe, a Native American tribe, there was the men who were leaders, but also when it came to decisions of war or really big decisions for the tribe itself, they would always have to confer with the women of the tribe, the women leaders.
The women made the difference of, is there peace or is there war?
Right.
Now, and come on, right?
I think that should be a necessary thing worldwide. Ask the women, see if they need to go into war. And I'm going to guess usually the answer is no. Usually there's a way to
manage to work things out.
Right.
And it's interesting because Changing of the Gods talks a lot about the disparities of just two different types of groups, and like the one episode, I think it's number 4, talks about, the women, the women got kicked to the curb or, kicked down the rung of the ladder, thousands of years ago. And we're trying to make that step up closer and closer and closer. And we're getting there. And then we get kicked back down a little bit and then we take it. So, maybe in someone else's, maybe in that 7th generation that is discussed that, we're working for today, what we want our 7th generation to live in that world. Right. We are building that today. And that sounds a long time from now, but somebody did it for us. So why are we not doing it for our 7th generation?
Yes. So let's go. Let's move into the transits. We have today, Monday, March 21st, Mercury conjunct Jupiter.
Sales and trade. First of all, I like this. This is in Pisces. This is at 18 degrees. This contracts work well. Mercury is the planet of paperwork and making agreements or trade merchant services. So, all these contracts work well as long as all parties understand all the lines of the deal, right? So big, expansive conversations are happening. Deals are merging with large, hopeful picture. This totally is a good time for business decisions or business increases. So, maybe you're shopping more online or something. It's about having good conversations, right? Like,
like
I am sorry,
or even like a transactional conversation of some sort where like you're trading ideas or love or apologies or, one of those.
Yeah, it is certainly generosity and seeing the bigger picture, but trying to get the details involved. Like what are we trying to gain and how are we going to get there? It holds both of those. So, Mercury does have a fall and detriment here. However, in Pisces, that's where he is fall and detriment. Remember, I have this, and I will have this in my solar return chart, which is that's a personal thing. I'll hold that till later.
Okay.
But Mercury meeting up with the ruler of Pisces, Jupiter. That means that Jupiter is inviting Mercury into Jupiter's sign. And so that's better for Jupiter, or it's better for Mercury. So even though fall and detriment, Mercury has a better placement. He's
the red
more
carpet was
welcomed.
laid out.
Yeah,
right.
he's more welcomed here. So it is about having a big expanse of possible lucrative conversations for business. I know that on Monday, I have a big meeting with someone that could be a very lucrative, big possibility going in the future. So we'll see. It's interesting that I looked at my calendar, said, well, Monday works for me. And then I look at the transit. I'm like, yeah, Monday works for me to have this conversation. Yeah. So if you need something done, today is a good day to at least reach out. You don't have to have the conversation today, but you can send out an email saying, hey, what about this? It's time to get this moving. I also have something planned to reach out to someone for some future work. And I'm going to do it on Monday.
So let's move into your conflict day of the month, which is Tuesday, March 22nd, because Mars is squaring Uranus.
Yeah, Mars. Mars is in Aquarius, which is a fixed sign, and squaring Uranus, which is in a fixed sign. That's why we get a square, 90 degrees. And this is hurried traffic. This is volatile surprise is really happening today and tomorrow. Tense and intense. Out tense and intense.
Okay.
And this could work on actually both of those levels, on the internal level and on the external level. And both of those need to be really paid attention to. Internal could create some build up of the body. But on the external, it can also be where we're having bodily harm. Choose a calmer selection. So slow down considerably. Let's take a deep breath right now. Because what this ends up doing, it's these unexpected little, putting out fires.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you're going down. It's like, oh man, I missed my turn.
Right.
And I'm going to quick turn because I'm running late.
Right.
Don't.
Every single time. Right. That's like it's the one time that you think you're like 100% paying attention to everything because your adrenaline's up and you're like, okay, I got this. I got to do all of these things in my head. And then all of a sudden you're backing out of the parking spot and you run into that lamp post.
I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. Not recently, but when I first got my driver's license. But yeah, it can be like there's a discord. There's a volatile intensity of differences, and you're not expecting them because it's a square. And I liken a square to a stop sign. So it's like the red stop sign just says, "Hey, follow the rules. Stop here." But Uranus, the non-rule follower, is like, yeah, that was just an idea, right? It really isn't a thing. I don't see any red light, electric light there. I just see a sign over here to the right that says, maybe you can stop, maybe you shouldn't. And so it goes on through. So it really, and what this does here is this reactivates that Saturn square Uranus angle that we have had all of 2021. And so, this is where Saturn stopped Uranus, where Uranus plowed through the Saturn. And so now Mars is pushing, is really activating, and it reminds me of like a oh no, right? Like oh no, gotcha kind of thing, like shoulda, woulda, coulda, those kind of things. It's like, so instead of having to say any of those and pay attention in advance to say, I am focusing. There's going to be driving. I know my son is going to be driving probably 10 hours this day, and he doesn't know that I'm going to give him this spiel.
Yeah, the spiel.
I don't want to scare him, but I want to alert him. So how do you have the fear? How do you tap on a little bit of a just be really careful? It's not great for driving. People aren't paying attention. Everybody is hurried, and I'll may be driving. I may actually go in where I'm going a day earlier or a day later because of this aspect. Yeah, it's my conflict day of the month.
Yes. So we all need to be pretty careful, making sure that we're paying attention while we're driving, all of those things. So let's move on to the next transit. So Wednesday, March 23rd, Mercury conjunct Neptune.
Being vague. What? Huh?
Can you elaborate on that?
Nope, can't. Unable to describe the situation. I can't put into words the thought I have. The ideas that are coming in are just in and out, and I can't contain them. So it seems like you're mixed up, right? When you say stuff like that, right? Like, well, what do you mean by that? I can't hit it. I don't really even understand it myself. Sounds like you're confused. And you are a bit, right? You're mixed up a little bit. Kind of like a dreamland, right? It's like, well, I had this dream, but it was so disjointed.
Right.
I was wearing this, and then I was over here, and then I don't know who this person is, but why did this person come back in? So it's vague. So this is a good time to write or speak it, even though it doesn't make sense, because it will one day. So write it down, record it, document it, because it's a period of time when we're seeing in 3D.
Ooh.
Right? We're seeing in some third dimension. I don't know, 4D, 5D. I've got some friends that are living on 5D. So it's not a linear. So that's why it doesn't make sense. It's not formulated, A plus B plus C plus D, equals the alphabet. It really has some tendencies to forget words, or it's a lot like Mercury and Pisces, like I even have.
Right.
So this is a good time, like I said, to do meditation, to do your visioning, to do your writing here, because you're seeing in 3D.
And creative writing too.
Well, yeah.
So let's move on to Saturday, March 26th, Mercury sextile Pluto.
Agreement. This is an agreement. Let's pray that this is an agreement. This is Mercury. It has to go along with the plans, the plans of the leader, at least for now. There has to be it's a sextile, so it's a soft, or not strong. I don't want to call it weak,
right?
But it's not as strong as a conjunction or
the lesser
a trine.
Degree of a transit.
Yeah, but it's still something. So it's about weaving and blending to make sense with powerful players. So is it trying to get into the heads of those that have authority, that actually make up the big decisions, the big plans? Is there something about getting to the bottom of something, to find something that's, maybe there is just a small little pocket of compassion somewhere, and that this maybe conversation that is occurring this day can get there, can get to that little bubble of the root cause.
And I think everyone's kind of thinking the same thing when you talk about this agreement, this way of keeping the peace, possibly for Russia and Ukraine. Okay, so the final transit of the week, Sunday, March 27th, Mercury ingress Aries.
Yeah, this happens at middle of the night at 2:44 a.m. And Mercury here is in better shape.
Okay.
So he's peregrine. Peregrine means kind of street smart, homeless, knows the ways through, not really through an education, a scholastic, academic education, but knowing things because it's actually how things happen.
Right.
It's
more like the experience.
Yeah. But, doesn't have resources as a peregrine planet, but certainly better, can you imagine, than where Mercury was in his fall and in his detriment. So that's when he was in a weak and in a hole. So here he has climbed out of the hole. He's gaining strength because he knows how things are working in the world.
Okay.
Right? He's able to get moving a little bit faster. He's able to, have a more of a confident
air about
movement and clarity of ideas, because he's not so much in that falling down the well of the hole into a little area
puddle
of water,
Right.
So it's things that can be moved quickly. So this could really mean Sunday the 27th is a very action-oriented 3-week period, begins a 3-week action period.
Yeah. And I mean, it sounds kind of like break open the doors and start getting outside type of energy. If you can go on a walk, if you could go on a bike ride, however it is, just get outside and get that energy going.
You know, I sit with my calendar right next to the microphone here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every time I say something and I'm like, okay, you know, this, and this, and then I'll look to my calendar and I'll just
see
say,
what you're
oh
doing.
my God, right? And I'm looking at the calendar on the 30th. I go up to the Pilates, the Evanston Pilates. I've never been. I've heard such great things about it. You were talking about it the other day, and it's like really, a walk away. Yeah. So I sign up for a free class, and so that is 3 days after this.
Wow.
So to me, it's like we can feel that energy. Mm-hmm. So put something on your calendar, everybody.
Yes.
What is it you've been wanting to do that you need to take action in? It's like you literally get your mind in the game.
Yes. Okay, so let's move into talisman times. You had a little birthday break. So no finished talismans, but
you know what I did? There was some really good energy with the Jupiter and Sun and Pisces coming together, and the Sun was, first day of spring.
Right,
his Sun has gone out of Pisces, so the bracelets that I would have made for universal times, I use those times for personals. That worked so beautifully. Yeah. So when I don't have universals that we're talking about, oftentimes I have connected those beautiful moments to a personal chart that I'm working with, a personal intention bracelet. So,
and so the upcoming talismans that you have, the first is Tuesday, March 22nd, to feel reborn.
I shine my vitality upon the path ahead of me. My life is moving along happily with esteem, rank, and honor. I am high. Don't laugh.
I'm sorry. That last little part was funny.
The moon being here in a water sign, actually in Scorpio, it's a disseminating moon. So disseminating moons are when you kind of deliver or share or the harvesting to
like you're kind
gifts.
Of wrapping up. It's this like culmination.
Yeah, it's after the culmination. It's when you start now picking the fruit and you're delivering the tomatoes and the goods and the information to your friends, to the people. And we've got the ascendant is Cancer, so that means what's the ruler of the chart? Moon. Moon is making a really nice trine to the Sun in Aries, where the Sun is exalted. So this really is about a rebirth, reborn, aliveness. And so this is definitely, if you have on your list this, on your vision board for this year, Sun Talisman. This is a great one. This is a great one, folks. This is a great one. This is the beginning of the year. It's all anticipatory. It's brand new. Nothing's gotten burned. Nothing. It feels like a fresh drowned. Start. Right. It's like you're making your way. So this is a great one.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Love that one. Okay. So Friday, March 25th, to embody personal and soul growth.
So this is the Sun in Aries still, but Jupiter is still in Pisces, and Jupiter is in Pisces here until May. So yes, we have about 6 more weeks with Jupiter in Pisces. And so I'm trying to grab all of this yummy energy that we won't have again. I don't know if I'll be able to use much of the Jupiter in Pisces when Jupiter comes back into Pisces at the end of the year, October, November, and part of December, because looking ahead, we've got the square to Mars. And so you don't really want to do you don't want Jupiter to do really a square to one of the malefics. So I'm not so sure if I'll be able to do any. So this is another, last minute of 12 years period where I can use the Jupiter talisman. So to embody personal and soul growth, I easily gather all the good fortune to me. These virtues accumulate within my body and soul. I grow.
Right. And I like that, where, you know, you're collecting things, you're collecting experiences, moments, pieces of wisdom and knowledge, and you know, kind of contributing that to this wealth of soul and personal growth. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So everybody, don't forget that the Talisman of the Month, this is the last week to get it, to enjoy time steeped in appreciation. This talisman is discounted at $222 and is available with that link in the description. So let's move on the horizon. We just finished up the Spring Equinox Chatting with the Stars webinar. Sandy and Susan went over some really interesting things when it came to the Spring Equinox, you know, traditions, which we're actually going to be talking about in our house, as well as in the webinar, you and Susan actually look at the Aries ingress charts, and you explain all of this of both the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine, all three of them. And it's just really interesting, you know, what findings you two had regarding that. So if anyone is interested, of course, that link is in the description, or head over to our website and check out the events section. March 26th, we are announcing our April astrology forecast. That's going to be free and on Facebook, so you won't want to miss it. Sandy and Susan are going to be going over all of their April dates, as well as we just finished and uploaded our April cheat sheet. So head over to the website today to grab that. We do have that April 9th talisman ceremony coming up, and that's the Jupiter and Neptune. If you are interested, I will be sending out an email this week. And to get on the list early, you want to email me, alex@intentionbeads.com. I will send over those sign-up links to you. Otherwise, you can all wait on the email, the broadcast email, if you are on our broadcast email list.
Question.
Yes. You in the front.
You're the only one in the audience. This is a question because I often say to, you know, some of my clients when I'm talking or whoever, and do you have to be on a subscribe email list or just an email list to get our emails? So when they subscribe on the website,
right?
Is that to get our emails?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like I don't know if you have to subscribe this,
no,
or it's
no.
all one. Okay.
So also,
I know there's other people that have those questions like I just did.
Yes. So looking out over the horizon, we also have May 14th through the 20th. That's a 7-day challenge. It's a free event, and I will be hosting it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll be in Greece, so maybe I can pop in, depending on the time change.
That would be cool.
Let's see. No, it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
4 o'clock in the morning. Not unless I'm getting up
maybe
to do
not.
some stargazing.
But yeah, so I think that's a wrap on the things that we want to discuss. So make sure to not miss the April astrology forecast that's happening March 26th, as well as our Jupiter Neptune talisman ceremony that's happening April 9th.
And this last time last time we would have been able to do this in Pisces was in 1856.
Okay.
166 years ago. So we weren't here, even though sometimes it feels that like we were, because so much in our world is so back in the 19th century. And the next time we'll be doing this, and I didn't calculate this right, but it'll be the next 166 years from now. So you decide if this is the time, this is the boom year you want to come and do some higher realm work. This is seeing beyond the veil. This is very intuitive, creative work that helps gain this belief in spiritual
knowingness. Just
like grabbing into things and finding it just so valuable, yeah, worthy and valuable, wealthy, plethora of wealth. Versus, we have to also pay attention to, this is where you'll also get a little bit of information on the dubious or the nebulousness of these two planets, of like what is real and what is not real. Because that's the other way that you can look at this, on the polarity of, like, being wool pulled over your eyes, or being sold something that is not honestly honest. In fact, it's interesting that the movie that you and I started watching the other day is just about that.
Right.
It's just about fibbing. I was really literally lying to a group of investors on something that someone had thought they had invented, and took all the money, and nothing was, and it was never real in the first place. So that's the kind of energy
that could be around.
Yeah. So we want to be aware of that and call in our higher power, and not our just material plane power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so let's move into our house. Sandy's birthday was so much fun. Do we want to chat about it at all?
We got two big things to chat about here in our house. It's been because I want to talk about traditions. I just really found this really interesting, the traditions that people do on the spring equinox. And then my birthday, though, because that was so last night. Very surprising. It's so funny how we had that, that I had that birthday giveaway or gift away of $66.
So I had been planning this little birthday party. I was going to be hosting it. It was going to be a small little dinner party with our family. And the whole time the theme was Route 66 or Route 66, however you want to say it. But I'd been planning this, and all of a sudden,
no idea.
What was that? A couple weeks ago, or just last week, maybe?
And I think it was on the podcast.
The podcast, I asked you, for your birthday, you wanted to do a sale, and I said, how about we figure it out on the podcast? I asked you, what do you want your promo code to be for when people can get their discount on their talismans? And you say,
I said 66, and I'm like, that's kind of silly. I'm like, okay, Route 66. So I say it. Connecting to your brain, although anybody that's 66 would pretty much say, yeah, Route 66, it's a thing.
I mean, it was a no-brainer, but
yeah,
but just the way that you came up with that right on the spot, and I had already.
What were you thinking over there when I said that?
I was like, okay, one, don't give it away. She's probably reading your mind. Or at least reading my face. But yeah, I was shocked. And we had our friend, who is an incredible designer, do the whole tablescape, all of the, we had, I created some signs that said Revi 66 and Sandy's roadside diner with a little marquee arrow pointing. And we just had a lot of fun with it. And just like delving more and more into the theme of Route 66, where, there were little matchbox cars as gifts that were wrapped up. There was a postcard on each of our plates that told us who should be sitting there, because mine was a postcard, an old fashioned postcard that said Cincinnati, Ohio. And so where everyone was born.
Yeah, one that said Rio de Janeiro, that he sat there. And then we had a Juarez, Mexico, and Rocco sat there. And you had Evanston, Illinois.
Right. I couldn't even believe he found an Evanston postcard.
Yeah. So there was an Albany, New York. There was a Chicago, Illinois. There was just... And it was, and we actually, after dinner, sitting around the table, we started playing. You got out a trivia, United States, a national geography trivia game. So it was like, all of you are on Route 66. What area you're going through between this and this. It's like, no, we really don't. But we're willing to play the game. We should know this. So that was really fun. We had a dream cream. No, wait, not a dream cream.
An orange cream.
Orange cream birthday pie. That tasted like. Do you have any of that left?
Yes, you want it? You go right ahead.
I really shouldn't, but it is my birthday. But you should always eat your birthday cake pie. That tasted like orange sickles. Anyway, it was just so lovely and so surprising. and the gifts I got and everything. So,
and we actually like discussed a little bit of like trivia about we played the trivia game, but we also talked about like how Route 66 started in Chicago.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was so crazy. I had no idea. And actually, one of our dinner guests brought you fine wine on Route 66, little small wine glasses, like tasting wine glasses.
I know.
It's so great.
It's got the emblem, you know,
Right.
the interstate emblem, like all of your stickers that you had everywhere. They were all on the champagne flutes. They were hanging, streaming from the chandelier over the table. They were balloons everywhere.
Even down the runners along the hallway, there was like
road,
the yellow lines that are in the middle of the
highway.
Yeah, just so crazy, so much fun.
Those going down. They had him going up a wall.
Right.
He had him going up over the serving area in the kitchen. There were matchbox cars. There were bigger cars. There was a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I can roll with my hand. It was just so
you
fun.
wanted the real one.
So fun. It was so fun.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
So
that was good.
Yeah. We also want to talk about, since your birthday is always the day before spring. We wanted to talk about the different worldly traditions for what to do on the spring equinox.
You know, New Year's Day, January 1st, is such a big day because that's, you know, the
fresh start,
the Gregorian calendar. Right. That we've had the Gregorian calendar since I think it's 1582. Before that was the Julian calendar. And really quick, this is a really interesting information that I was just learning. November, or is October? November 5th in 1582 was a Thursday. That's the day that they translated from the Julian, the Julius Caesar calendar. That's what it was. He was after Julius Caesar, Julian calendar, to the Gregorian calendar. And they had to add 14 days. So the next day, Friday, was October 15th. They had to add 11 days. Yeah, I'm really knowing this. They had to add 11 days, which got it up to the 15th.
So they just like fast forward.
So yeah, Thursday was like the 4th, and Friday was the 15th.
Oh wow!
Of that month.
Interesting.
And that's what set all of the sun's movement back into order.
Right.
And then it was why they had to come up with the leap year, so that they could catch up a day every 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, all of that. You know, when you really want to learn something, just, you know, there's some really good old
start digging, right?
Available to learn.
So tell us about like the different, you know, how the world celebrates the Astrological New Year.
And some of that, I will talk about the Easter, which is the Christian, which is called the Movable Feast. It is not held on Easter, Easter is not held on the spring equinox, but the spring equinox is the determining factor of when Easter is. So I want to bring that up here again. I'll probably bring that up at Easter too. So it's called the Movable Feast because Christmas doesn't change. Thanksgiving doesn't change. You know, it's always the fourth Thursday of the month in November. July 4th doesn't change. You know, it's always the dates that we know are fixed. Mm-hmm. This is the only religious holiday that is movable. It varies.
Interesting. Okay.
Did you know this?
No.
And it's always, catch this, the first Sunday after the full moon that falls on or after March 21st. Let me back that up.
Okay.
So spring equinox,
right,
which this year is March 20th.
Mm-hmm.
first identify the spring equinox. Then you go to the next full moon, which is April 16th, because we just had a full moon Friday.
Right.
Right? We had it on March 18th. But we weren't in the spring equinox yet.
Okay.
Right? So we have to wait till the spring equinox. Then we go to the first full moon. That's April 16th. And it's the first Sunday after that full moon, which is then, real quick, is Easter this year is on the 17th. So we get literally the full moon on April 16th, and Easter is the next day.
Okay.
Because the full moon is on Saturday. So isn't that interesting that it's always the first Sunday after Passover. And that is always Good Friday, April 15th. That's when, Jesus was crucified. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because it still has a connection to the spring equinox. And that's really when we're anticipating rebirth. And any Christian would know that Jesus has risen. This is the representation of new life. But let's go to Poland. And they have something called Marziana. I'm hoping Marzana. And someone, please, I'd be thrilled if you could correct me.
The pronunciation.
Where the children make dolls of straw. Say that 3 times.
Dolls of straw. Dolls of straw. Dolls of straw.
Maybe that's how you say that. But they make dolls of straw. They burn them, and then they drown these dolls in the river.
What?
And this is to honor the Marzana goddess. And she is the goddess of death, of water, and of nightmares.
Whoa.
So these children are burning them and drowning them.
Whoa.
Then they go around and collect flowers, new little blooms, flowers that are blooming. And then they take these and decorate the empty branches.
Quite a literal,
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
custom of death and rebirth. Wow. Okay.
And again, all of these themes have, in order to welcome the new light, we have to ward off, the dark, which is often called Old Man Winter. And if you haven't heard Old Man Winter comment, you should listen to my mom. In Japan, it's a public holiday. Spring equinox is everybody's off. They close all businesses.
All right, America, let's go.
And they visit gravestones of their ancestors, and they clean off all the debris, and they replant flowers, and they make offerings. The farmers pray for a hearty crop on this day. So people are busy in honor, right? And I know that when we were in Japan, we definitely went on a little it's a walkable tour that you do it yourself, and we went into
the temple,
and we're the only people there, and we had a little tour, and we did prayers and got to see all of the sticks in the side yard or in the side cement area of all of the tombs.
Right. It was very, it's beautiful. Everything is, so clean and so taken care of and so honored
and simple.
Yeah.
And sacred.
And we did see some people visiting their loved ones.
Let's go to Belarus. Did I talk about that last time? The welcoming of the birds?
No.
They decorate trees with paper birds that they make. They also make a bread in the shape of a bird. And then they throw it up into the sky, and it is the call for the birds to return.
Oh. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like, it makes me kind of cry? That's so
well,
stupid.
I was,
but
when I was like waking up this morning, I was very cognizant of the birds chirping, and it's been happening, a few days prior because it's finally starting to warm up here in Chicago a little bit. But, it's a beautiful sound.
And I pause here to say that, because it's a weekend day morning, and that maybe you had a little bit more pause,
right?
In before you had to get up and get going out of the bed and get going on to work or whatever it is you have to do, right? So just in that pause, you get to catch things that you might have missed, right? Let's do India. They call it the Holi. It's the festival of colors. Check this out. They celebrate by smearing each other with colored powder.
Yeah, I love this one. I'm familiar with this one.
And they drench each other with water, whether it's water balloons or the water guns or sprinklers. They also, are you familiar with this? They eat a paste called bahang that is made with cannabis.
Oh.
And they all consume this. So the
No, I
Festival of
didn't.
Colors.
But the Festival of Colors is so cool. And whenever I would see, videos or pictures of friends or whoever went to it, I think it's Holy? Holly?
Holi.
Yeah. Howley. I don't know. But everyone is just drenched in different colors. It looks like so much fun. I think they do have a couple of festivals here in Chicago. Small, but very cool. Very exciting.
Yeah. Did we talk about the Kukulkan?
We talked about it on the webinar.
Oh, okay. The temple in Mexico.
This is cool.
Where you almost have to see it to believe it, at 4 p.m. on this day, today. So right about
No.
that the light from the sun makes a shadow down the side of the steps at a certain angle where it depicts the bumps of a serpent slithering down the steps. Because at one angle, one area, one side of the pyramid here is these two heads of the serpent, just the heads.
Yeah.
But on this day at 4 p.m., you can see from the very top the whole like slithering, snaky serpent with his head at the very bottom.
Right. And it's kind of like, it looks like a very flat railing, kind of, with at the bottom is this,
Sculpture.
open-mouthed serpent, sculpture. And it's so cool. So if anyone is curious, like, look this up. Can you spell the temple's name?
Yes, Kukulkan.
And
Kukulkan.
It's so cool looking because it's completely flat, but as soon as the sun hits it at this specific angle, it looks like,
the bumps
right.
of the light create this
the movement of the body of the serpent.
And actually, if you count all four angles of this, all the steps all the way up to the top.
There's like 4 stairways on the 4 sides.
Yeah. And the one, and you count all of those plus the one, you get 365. So there's one step for each day of the year. So, come
planned.
on, let's
definitely planned.
And I don't know, I really should look to see when this really was, when this temple was built, but it is thousands of years ago. So
interesting.
It's all planned out. We know all the Stonehenge and, a lot of, and Stonehenge is not even, it may be the most populated, but it's not the first of the stones that were built. And I forget the name of the first ones, but I talked about, let's see, what else you want to know. They're in Switzerland. They have the sextile.
Okay, go on.
The 6 o'clock ringing of the bells.
And what is that?
At 6 p.m. because the workday now ends at 6 p.m. and not at 5 p.m.
Oh.
Since the days are getting longer now.
Okay.
This tradition is to burn a figure of a snowman called the Boog, which is considered the boogeyman.
Okay.
Or Old Man Winter, or Grim Reaper. But when they burn this figure of a snowman, and they're huge, these are not just like adult size snowmen. They're these huge frames that they've built, and the faster the flames reach the head of the Boog, nicer weather is expected that summer. So the quicker
like groundhog,
we get warmer weather. And then in Thailand, they have a Songkran water festival that lasts for 3 days. Always starts on this day.
And what's a water festival?
Yeah, they're making a fresh start through cleansing and purifying. So they sprinkle fresh water on people. But now they use buckets and hoses where they're washing away bad thoughts and bad actions.
Yeah.
And we can just look at too that this is a really good time for us all to take any bad habits or any bad behaviors or routine, boring, that it's time to get up and out and make yourself grow again.
And really like
stagnant.
not overthink, because I think that's another part of the help that Aries brings from kind of being in a Pisces of like overfeeling, overthinking, overanalyzing. To Aries, where it's like, don't think, just do it.
Yeah, it's the Nike symbol.
Yeah.
Which is the swoosh.
Yes.
What else do you want to hear? Spain?
Yes.
Las Fallas depicts statues that are called minos around the city. They do 700 of these, and they're made of wood, because they're also honoring March 19th, which is the St. Joseph, the saint of the carpenter, him being a carpenter. And so they're honoring him by all of these statues are made of wood. And they eat pastries on this day, and they set all of them but one on fire. One that gets moved into the museum for representing that year's into a museum by popular vote.
Oh, interesting.
The public votes which one is saved, and the rest, the 699, are burned.
Cool.
Yeah. Scotland, the Whippity Scory.
I don't know.
It's an ancient ritual, and literally they say in the Google search, we don't know why it's called this. We don't know why they do this.
Right.
But at 5:55 p.m., they ring a wee bell.
A wee bell.
It's in quotes. A wee bell, and the kids run around St. Nicholas Church with paper balls on strings, and they're just welcoming in.
It's the time of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Any other?
Bosna Festival of Scrambled Eggs.
Sounds like a brunch festival.
Symbolizing new birth and life. Let's get back to Ostara, the goddess of the dawn, which is honored at Stonehenge. And, as the sun is rising over the stones, everyone dances and plays music. It's a major
festival.
Big festival. Yeah. People come from all over the world. It's on people's bucket lists.
Cool.
Where they drink concoction of dandelion and burdock.
That's what we did.
Which cleanses the blood and acts as a tonic for the body after a hardship of winter. Where sludge might certainly have accumulated into the liver and into the gallbladder. And the reason why we're leaving this one to the end, because just recently my naturopath gave me what she calls a gallbladder soup. And basically what she said is make this once a month, and you're going to eat it for lunch is when it can best work. And I literally had to go up to the store and ask for dandelion root and burdock root, which is like a
bark.
A bark. And so I had to put it into like a little strainer and just use the properties of that. So
it tastes really good.
It's not bad. Yeah. And we had that because that's what you're supposed to do on the first.
Yeah.
Well, the first, of
the first day of the
spring,
astrological year. Yeah.
Of spring. And so to cleanse the blood. But this is also the day that the goddess of the dawn transformed a bird into a bunny, into a hare, into a rabbit.
Okay.
And the rabbit responded by this sudden change by laying colorful eggs.
Wow. It's the birth of the Easter bunny?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was a bird. And the goddess of dawn, Ostara, did her magic, and we got magical colored eggs. And so
that makes so much sense now. Considering
why do we ever do that, right?
Why was there a bunny delivering eggs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, something again that we hear that jackrabbits, that they're always, there's constant bunnies being born, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pet. You had a pet bunny.
I did. Princess.
So just new birth.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing.
One more.
Italy? Sure. One more.
People go to the temple of Adonis to plant seeds. And then these sprouts are tied once they're grown a little bit. They're tied with a red ribbon and they're placed on the graves of the dead on Good Friday. And these are symbols of triumph of life over death.
Yes.
So really sense this feeling and, again, just heart is aching like everyone, that, just praying for life over death, in Ukraine.
And the honor of it too, right?
Like allowing, this is the time of year for the stopping of that and let life be reborn, please. So I wish that message gets
peace
heard.
for Ukraine.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for listening. That is a wrap on our episode today. Remember, don't forget to send in your emails, alex@intentionbeads.com, or head over to wherever you listen to your podcast and give us one of those 5-star reviews. We love them. Okay, thank you again, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye, everybody. See you.
And so you finally know you control where you go.